Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the next session of Wednesdays with Wayne. I'm Wayne Frederick. A lot of you know that by now. We do have quite a few people that are brand new to the Wednesdays with Wayne programs. So welcome. And in that vein, let me explain a couple of things to you. If this is your first session of Wednesdays with Wayne, you're actually coming into the fourth part of a four-part series on listing presentations. So we had done the opening dialogue, we had done the pricing strategy, and then we did value propositions or unique selling propositions over the previous three sessions. And today we're summing it all up with a role play. I'd like to introduce you to Phil and Jody Graff, who were nice enough to be my role play partners for today. A couple of things, those of you that have been through the other sessions, I'm going to be using exactly the materials that I showed you in the first three sessions. So just to let you know, I am armed today with the questions that we believe are very important to ask in a recruiting meeting. And I'm going to be going through all of those with Phil and Jody, as well as the very simple sheet on how we came up with the market analysis and the criteria, as well as the CMA forms that we had sent you if you were in that session on CMA. And then lastly, just a very, very basic marketing program that is all the materials that we gave you before. So this is, to me, the foundational aspects of a great listing presentation. With that opening, again, thank you guys for doing this with me. So I'm just going to roll right into the dialogue. Obviously, I'm the agent. Phil and Jody are the sellers. And as always, if at any time you have a question, put it in the chat. Maddie will break in and ask the question if you'd like to do that. We will also have question and answer at the end if someone would like to do that. And with that opening, thanks for attending. And here we go. This should take, I'm guessing, about 45, 50 minutes, depending on how many questions they have or how many challenges they give me. Then we will we'll just adjust accordingly. So Phil and Jody, thank you so much for letting me come out and talk to you today about your house. Sure. And the possibility of working with you. I'm going to ask you quite a few questions about your previous experiences because I think it gives us a very good baseline on what we need to make sure that we do moving forward. Anytime I sit down and talk to someone about listing their house, and taking on that duty of representing you in the sale. When we get done today, one of three things is going to happen. And the first one is that you choose to hire me, and that would be fantastic. The second is that you choose to not hire me, and you choose to hire somebody else. And honestly, from my side of the table, that's not so fantastic. But the third thing that could happen is we may come across a need or expectation you have that I know I can't meet or exceed. And if that's the case, I'll tell you today. Is that fair?
Yeah, sure.
Having said that, have you guys been through this process before? Have you sold homes before?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. How many times have you sold homes?
This is the third time we've sold two here
Okay. This is the third time overall, and you sold two
in Springfield.
in Springfield. If you would be willing, take me through each of those three transactions and tell me what you liked about them, what you felt like went well. Just walk me through. So the first transaction you did, the first house that you sold, where was that? And talk me through that.
It was south of the mall, and we didn't get enough for that house. We listed it too low.
The house had gone through, previous to us selling, had gone through a flood. And of course, we had to disclose that. And I really feel like our agent took that into account to the degree that it cost us some money.
Well, we walked away in debt from that large amount of debt, so that was tough.
And how long did it take to sell that house?
It sold rather quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of felt like it was a fire sale, just flood sale in this case, but yeah.
Yeah, it just sold really fast.
Did you interview more than one realtor or just go with one?
We met with a personal friend.
Okay. So you would say that that was a good experience or not such a great experience?
It wasn't a good experience.
Wasn't a good experience, okay. How about the second house that you sold? Talk to me
He
about
sold
that.
us that one, right, you know, when we left that house, we moved into the second house.
Okay. And then did you sell that also?
Yes, we've sold that house also.
You sold
since
that
then.
house. So tell me about that experience. Better than the first experience?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
What made it better?
Well, number one, we got considerably more than we paid for it. And that was right when the market was starting to hurt. Well, no, it was actually recovering. It was around 2011. And the
Okay.
market was starting to come back. And yeah, I think we did pretty good on that house in terms of our asking price. We got just about full asking price on it.
And about how long did that one take to sell?
That one was pretty quick also. We didn't sit very long.
I think it sold within a month.
And we had to hurry and find a place to go because it
Yeah.
sold so quick.
And what about the third time?
That was the house that we're in now, that we're selling now.
So this will be your third time?
This is the third.
This would
time.
be the third
Yeah.
time, okay. So in the two scenarios that you've been through so far in selling property, the first time you felt like you didn't get enough money, it was a very quick sale.
Mhm.
You felt like you could have gotten more
Right.
if you would have maybe researched a little more.
We maybe should have interviewed more than one realtor.
Okay,
Yeah, he kind of convinced us that we couldn't get any more for that, and then walking away and being deeply in debt
okay.
from that house was really,
And then the second experience, you got considerably more than you paid for
mhm,
it. You got really close to what you were asking for it, but it sold pretty quickly as well.
mhm,
Is that correct?
mhm.
All right.
We were fortunate.
So let me ask a couple of questions. Based on your two experiences, do you feel like selling homes is easy or hard?
Well, I don't like to move, I mean, you know, but yeah, they were fairly easy both times. Just people traipsing through your house, I'm not really wild about that, but, you know,
I think with the first time, it was easy for the wrong reason. I think we put all of our trust in our realtor. And I don't think we asked him enough questions, and I don't think we pushed back at all. What he recommended for price.
well, his theory was, do you wanna sell it or do you wanna haggle with price? And, I wish we'd haggled a little.
Okay, no, that's totally fair.
And I think he knew we were getting out because it had flooded, and we didn't have any confidence that the neighborhood would flood again. And I think he took that into account when he.
But they've since fixed that and it hasn't flooded since.
Okay.
It's all been repaired and sewer has been.
Oh, perfect. There you
everything,
go.
Yeah.
Okay. So this time, I mean, I know both of your experiences were relatively quick sales.
Mhm.
When you put this house on the market, what are you expecting as far as the time frame?
Well, with the housing market the way it is, we figured this one will go pretty quick too.
When you say pretty quick, what are you thinking?
Within a month, you think?
Well, I'd say even, I mean, based on what I hear from our friends who have done this and even talking to some other realtors, you know, I'm hearing houses, if they're priced right, are going within a week or shorter.
I'm not ready.
You're not ready for that fast of a sale?
No, but I'll pack quick.
Okay, well, you wouldn't have to be out in a week, right? I mean, we're talking, in that scenario, we're talking perhaps a week of market time, and then historically, you're going to have at a bare minimum 30 days,
Okay,
more likely 45 to 60 days before we'd actually have a closing
well, that's a
because of
relief.
all of the things. So it's not that urgent. And another question, how much negotiation do you believe goes on when you sell a house?
Well, with our track record, not a lot.
Not a lot. Okay. And you feel like in today's market, that's pretty well the way things are?
That there won't be much
That there
negotiation.
won't be much negotiation?
Oh, I mean, of course, I think it depends on what we come up with the list price,
Right.
but, you know, the other thing I'm hearing is a lot of these houses for sale, becomes a bidding war.
Right. And we'll talk about that.
So we might get more than what we asked for?
It's never a guarantee, but I will tell you that it does happen quite often right now in this market.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's, but there's components that we have to get in place to try to create that kind of a scenario,
Okay.
which we'll talk about in a bit. Changing gears just a touch. What's the most important issue for you in the sale of this house? I mean, what's the one thing that we need to make sure we accomplish?
No, we really haven't talked about that much. Obviously, we need enough out of this house that we can relocate and do so without causing ourselves a whole lot of debt.
Well, I'd like to get as much as we can for it. We need that for our retirement.
Do you have a price in mind? A number that you're thinking this would be fair or this would be enough for us to be able to do what we want to do?
Well, is this our initial, or have you showed us? Did he show you papers as what we might get for it?
No.
Nothing yet.
I mean, just looking at the other houses in our neighborhood and talking to people about what they sold, you know, we're kind of thinking the neighborhood of 275.
And is that number based on the number that you need to do what you want to do, or based on what you've looked at and what you think things have sold for?
Yeah, the latter, kind of what we think we could get,
Okay.
don't you think?
Mhm, mhm.
So the most important thing for you is to get enough money to relocate, get as much money as you can, and you're thinking that number is somewhere around the 275 number.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is that correct?
Mhm.
Okay. What would be the next most important issue? What else could we add?
Let the sale go smoothly, that we have a buyer that has the ability to. I mean, I just don't wanna, put it on the market and then have somebody come along and then pull back out and there we are again. I mean, I don't know what guarantee you have with that, but
You know, it's an older house, and so I'm hoping we don't get in a situation where an inspector comes in and we find that the buyer's gonna ask for tons of stuff to be done.
So anything else that you would add to that?
no, I think that's about right, don't you? I
Okay.
mean, just,
So the most important thing is somewhere in, you mentioned that 275 number so that you'll have enough to relocate,
mhm.
right? And then the other thing would be that it goes smoothly, that you have a buyer that actually has the ability to do it, they don't pull out. Phil, you're a little concerned about, you don't want somebody coming in and making you turn the house into brand new because of inspections,
Right.
right?
I guess if there's one other thing is, if we decide we're going to go with you, I think we would be asking you to start looking for something for where we're gonna go.
Okay. So that would lead to my last question, which is, what's that third thing, third most important thing, if you will, to where when somebody asks you this series of questions again, you go, you know what, we sold 3 houses. We had one that wasn't so great, we had one that went well, but that third one, it was unbelievable. What
Mhm.
happened? Is that the third thing that would happen, is that I would be able to help you find something to move into?
Sure, and I'd be willing to rent for a while so that, or a condo. I mean, we're just kind of playing with options and thought maybe you could help us with that too.
Have you seen anything out in the marketplace you'd like to move into at this point?
Well, she kind of mentioned a condo, we're at the age we're at, we're kind of thinking about maybe it'd be nice to find some place where we're not responsible for all the upkeep and stuff like that.
At the age he's at.
At the age I'm at, yeah.
Okay. So let me just recap here for a second. So the most important issue in the sale is the sales price around that 275 number, because we think you figured out that'll do what you need it to do. You want to make sure that it goes smoothly and you have a buyer that has the ability to do this. We don't want to get caught up in making the house brand new for somebody.
Mhm.
And then lastly, that you would have assistance in finding something else.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. If I can show you a game plan where we can do all 3 of those things, is there any reason you wouldn't hire me to represent you?
No, that's, yeah, I'd hire you if you could meet those things.
Okay,
I think that'd be great.
okay. So let me change gears one more time, if I may.
Okay.
If you choose to hire me, or if you choose to hire any real estate agent to help you with this, what do you expect from the agent you hire? What do you expect me to do?
Oh, I just have our back. I mean, be there for us if we have questions or if we don't understand or know something, that you could help us with that, because this is not what I do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna trust you to do this for us.
I wanna know for every step that we're going through, you know, that you're gonna be in communication with us. You know, if you put her on the market and I don't hear from you for a week or so, then I'm going, what's going on here? So, yeah, communication will be important to me.
Mhm.
I'm gonna take a sidebar for a second, because I feel the need to say something to everybody watching. We have not rehearsed this. I have no idea what they're gonna say to these questions. That was the setup for this in the very beginning. So just so you know, because if you're following along with the sessions that we've done, well, I won't even go there. If you follow along with the sessions we've done before, you know where I'm heading. I have no idea what they're gonna say. I'm gonna stay in the process. All right, sorry. I've got out of the process, now we're going back. What can I expect from you guys? Because this is a partnership if you choose to work with me. What do you feel like is your part of this equation?
Well, a hot cup of coffee anytime you come over,
Okay,
but we would cooperate with you the best we could.
anything else?
What would you expect from us? What, as sellers, what do you expect from us?
We'll get to that.
Okay,
We'll get to that.
okay,
You know, number one is, like I said, you know, we've asked if you communicate with us. I wanna be able to call you anytime I have a question. And I want you to be accessible, I guess,
or at least call us back.
right?
So back up to what you expect from me, you do expect me to call you back.
Yes. But we promise we won't call you after 10 at night or anything.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll
Okay.
leave you alone in the middle of the night.
How does someone win with you guys? In other words, what's the one thing, if we're working together, what's the one thing I better make sure I always do no matter what?
I really like it when someone treats me with respect.
Okay.
Being the female, sometimes I don't get that when we're dealing with people that work with us.
Oh,
And,
okay.
and so I like it when people don't take me for granted in this scenario,
Okay.
that I get your respect.
Okay.
I wanna feel like you're listening. But I also want you to be straight with us. You know, if we're saying something that you know is just way out there, I wanna know that,
Okay.
you know, I want you to be straight with us.
Conversely, how do I lose with you? What's the one thing I better make sure I never do no matter what?
Gossip. Lie. I mean, if you tell us something, we find out that it's not true, you're done.
Okay.
Yeah, if I can't get a hold of you, if you don't return calls, and I'm trying to get some questions answered, and I can't get a hold of you, I feel like you're blowing me off, yeah.
Okay. In that vein, how do y'all prefer to communicate?
Oh, phone calls, texts. Emails are kind of hard. I don't know about you, but I don't check my email as often as I should, so probably just a direct phone call or a text would work best.
I actually prefer a phone call.
Okay.
I'm an older guy, so I don't keep up with text maybe like the younger crowd does.
Okay.
So if you text me, I may not see it for a while. So,
Okay.
It's true, I can attest to that. He doesn't answer my text either.
Okay. And lastly, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being dishonest and 10 being incredibly honest with you, how honest would you want me to be?
10.
absolutely.
You know, Jody, I asked you just a few seconds ago, what you expected from me and what you felt like I had the right to expect from you. And I have my own list that I actually go through with everybody. That I'd like to share with you, if that's okay, before we move on. And somewhere you're gonna realize that I just blew it, folks, because I didn't print it off. So shame on me. But I can recite it to you, okay? This would be in a list that I would actually hand to you and we would go through it.
Okay.
So what's on the list is you can't expect me, number one, to be very honest with you about the sale of your house. If you're hiring me to represent you in the sale, I'm gonna be representing you. I have a duty to represent you. You can expect me to be honest. You can expect me to always look out for your best interest. You can expect me to communicate with you on a regular basis, and in a minute, I'll go through the communication protocols that we'll use. Okay. You can expect me to look out for your best interest, to market your property on a regular basis. Here's the things that I would expect from you. I would expect that you be very honest with me about my performance. We do have to have this open line of communication that goes on. Whenever we put a house on the market, the reality of the marketplace is that there's in this case 3 people that care whether your house sells or not. Me and you.
Right.
The marketplace in and of itself doesn't care. Okay. There's going to be houses that sell every day. Our goal is to make sure that your house is one of those that sells and it hits these goals that you laid out for me. All right. The other thing I would ask that you make your house easy to access, right? And we do that through a lockbox system that I'll explain to you when we get to that point. Access is one of the number 1 keys to this. We want to have a lot of people coming through your house. Okay, I know it's a hassle when people come through, but the more people we can get, the more vibrant activity we're going to have. I would ask you to leave every time you know the house is going to be shown. Okay, it's not good for you to be there.
Right.
Because a lot of times that agent that is bringing the buyer into the property is actually not representing you, they're representing the buyer. And if they're good at what they're doing, they'll probably start asking you questions. And if you're not on your game, you may answer them. And that may somehow play your hand out.
Truthfully, I don't want to be there.
Yeah, so it's always better that you're not in the property. And then I would ask you to contact me after every showing that you have. Now, we do have a computerized system that lets me know, but if you would call me, and then I'll make some guarantees to you here in a bit. I guarantee that I'll call you back within 48 hours every time the property is shown. Okay. I mean, to me, the things that I expect from my sellers and the things that you expect from an agent seem to match up. Really, it always comes down to communication and honesty.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty well where it goes every time. I would love to be the person that you choose. So I guess the next level is let's talk about the value of your house. Let's see where we are in relation to that 275.
Okay.
Does that work? Before I get into the numbers, I want to try to show you a little bit. So the way I approach pricing is that we take a very specific type of property, but we run a very broad price range. All right, because this is basically the way a buyer works their way through the market. Every property that I'm about to show you that is sold or is on the market is a 3-bedroom house like yours is.
Okay.
They all have either 2 or 2.5 baths like you do. They all have a 2-car garage like yours. They're all brick and frame like yours. Their lot size is just a normal residential lot. According to tax records, you have about 2,100 square feet. So every property I'm about to show you is between 2,000 and 2,500 square feet. I intentionally ran a broad price range, $200,000 to $300,000.
Yeah.
So that will capture your 275 that you were thinking. Everything that we're looking at is over 30 years old. According to tax records, your house was built in 72. And these are all in Glendale High School. Okay, that's one of the major ways that we look at the value of property is in our markets, we start with high school. Okay, so all of these properties I'm about to show you are that criteria. Would you agree that that's pretty well the criteria that your house would fit in?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. Does it
So,
make any difference that you got here this brick and frame and actually our house is all brick? Does that make any difference in what you're doing here?
it does make a difference. I made an attempt to go down the all brick route. And there was such a limited amount of property that was out there. I really couldn't find any comps because a house in that location and that age, it's rare to find all brick.
Mm,
So I ended up having to gravitate back toward brick and frame as well.
okay.
There were no sales. So does that give us an
For
advantage when we
comparison,
give us an advantage when we go to the market? Absolutely.
okay,
That will allow us to get to the upper end of a price range.
okay,
There's no doubt about that.
that's a good thing.
So here's what we came up with. And this is a time frame of the last 6 months. Okay. This is every house that is sold in Glendale schools that was with this criteria. Again, remember, you're all brick. These were not. Okay, these were brick and frame. There were no sales of all bricks.
Hmm.
Here's the original price that they were asking for each of these homes. And you can see on the low end, it was $237,500. The highest price asked was $247,500.
Mm,
Okay, now
that's disappointing.
that was the original price.
Mhm.
Here's the asking price when they actually went under contract, and then over here is what they actually sold for. Okay,
Okay,
so we've seen 7 sales ranging in a sales price of $223,000 to $242,000. Okay, now I know that's less than the $275,000 you were thinking,
yeah,
but this is not the entire story.
okay.
Okay, so don't overreact to this
Don't
at this
faint
point.
yet.
Don't faint yet. Some things to notice, this percentage AP, this is the percentage of asking price to selling price. Okay,
Okay,
and what I want you guys to understand is your experience as far as negotiation that went on when you sold your other houses is how this works.
oh, okay,
There's very little negotiation that goes on when we sell a house, regardless of market.
okay,
Now, we're actually on the other side of that now. You have a tremendous amount of power right now as a seller to get full price, if not more than full price, given one major factor that we get the right group of buyers through here. Okay, but you'll see that there's 2 houses that brought full price or above full price. One brought 99.2% of asking price, one at 98.1 and 99.2. Overall, properties like yours bring 99% of what you're asking for.
wow,
So that makes this sound like this is simple. Just put it out there and it's going to bring what we're asking. There's a bit more to the story.
okay,
Okay, there's the bedrooms, baths, and garages. All right. So you had said that you felt like, from a time frame standpoint, that you wanted this to happen in less than a month on the market.
Mhm.
Well, if we look over here, 1, 2, 3, 4 times, 4 out of 7 times, it did happen in less than a month. So there really isn't a reason to think we wouldn't be able to hit that marker. Okay,
Mhm.
and in fact, if we look at averages, the average days on market is 46, but it's heavily skewed by the house that took 124 days.
Oh, yeah,
So the timing and the negotiation that you laid out, that you've been through before, we should be able to accomplish again.
okay,
That's what properties have sold for. In addition to that, there are 3 more properties that are currently under contract. Now, we don't know what they sold for yet because they haven't closed,
okay,
but here's their asking prices: $239,900, $249,900, and $249,900. Okay, here's the number of days that they took, and again, they sold in an average of 30 days. So if we're not able to hit this window that you're wanting to do, which by the way is the window when you get the most money for your house.
oh,
So in both the scenarios that you all have been through, this is how a real estate market works. And it's the opposite of how we think it works. We think, well, I'm not in a hurry, so I'll price it higher. I can always come down, but I can't go up. But when you look at it statistically, it's not the way the marketplace works. All right. So we have a total of 10 sales. Again, remembering that None of these homes were all brick homes.
Hmm.
They were all brick and frame. More to the story. Here are the properties where people attempted to sell their house, but they didn't. Now, these were houses that came on the market and then fell off the market either because they expired 180 days on market, 120 days, and then this one withdrew their price at 89 days.
Hmm.
They were on the market an average of 130 days.
And they're the same kind of houses that we have,
They're exactly the same criteria as these houses.
and they're more in that price range that we're asking for.
Yeah.
Exactly. But remember, none of these houses were all brick homes.
Okay,
Okay, none of these were all brick. And on the low side, 259.9, on the high side, 274.9. Then one last piece of information we have to look at. There are 5 houses currently on the market right now. If a buyer shows up today and says, hey, I want to live in Glendale Schools.
mhm,
I want something between 2,000 and 2,500 square feet. I need 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2-car garage. What do you have for me? We have 5 houses to show people today. We put your house on the market, you'll be house number 6.
Okay.
So the thing that we have to figure out is every time we put a house on the market, either the marketplace is helping you sell your house or you're helping someone else sell theirs. Because I will promise you, there are buyers out there right now that have seen all 5 of these and said, no, not really tripping my trigger. And they're looking at their agent and saying, let me know when something new comes up. So we'll see the most showings and the best showings in the very beginning of this process. That'll be for that pool of buyers that's already looked. On the low end,
So tell me this, what's more important for us to think about? These houses that are on the market or the houses that are already sold?
So right now, because of the strength of the market, it's more important that we price in relation to what is out there than what historical sales have been, because the inventory is so low. There's so few options for people.
all I hear is that we're not gonna get our asking price.
Hold
All right,
on, hold on. And then here's how long these have been on the market. So if you take the 46 average days of market time,
mhm,
okay, and you put it against these people that have been on the market, well, you can see that this house right here at 130 days, the marketplace already is operating quicker than that.
mhm,
Same thing for the house that's been on the market for 90 days. So I will tell you that in the case of these 2 properties, number 4 and number 1, they are on the market, but they're not in the market.
is that because they're overpriced, do you think?
It always, Jody, goes down to one of two issues. They're either overpriced or their condition is not up to the standard for the market.
Have
Okay,
you looked into these properties to see kind of what condition or
I
if
have,
they've been updated?
I have. The house on Glen hits both of those markers. It's overpriced and it's substandard condition.
okay,
And what we're seeing in the market now, there's not a tremendous amount of cash in the marketplace. It's very much a payment-driven market that we operate in today. And if you go to the market and your house needs a lot of work, the buyer simply doesn't have the cash reserves to do it.
mhm,
And so you get eliminated. That's why you saw such a huge run up in people buying houses and fixing them up and flipping them.
yeah,
Because the buyer could get in with a 5, 7, 10% down payment. The work was already done, as opposed to, we used to operate with this, I'll buy it now and I'll fix things over time.
yeah,
People aren't doing that as much. They want it all done for them.
mhm,
So in the case of Glen, it hits both of those. In the case of Maine, quite simply, it's a condition issue. The pricing is fine if the condition were there. So I guess you could say, well, that means the pricing's not fine. But in the case of Maine, there's so many things that need to be done to it. It's a daunting task for most buyers. It's going to take someone that wants to go in and redo it. And when you look at these numbers, you can see that if I pay $240 for this house and then I have to turn around and fix it up,
mhm,
any investor is going to look at, well, what's the top side of this? What's $247? There's not enough room. So it gets eliminated. The house on Smith, only on the market 4 days, is your stiffest competition.
Okay.
I was in the house yesterday. It's a great house. It doesn't have some of the features you have, but it's a great house. It probably won't last very long.
Well, what you said here kind of makes me feel like, you know, what we're talking about asking maybe isn't that far off, because, I mean, we've done tons of stuff to
Oh,
not only the
yeah.
house, but the
Great.
yard, the landscaping.
I
We've done tons of stuff to that house, and, you know.
just wondered why we were moving. Okay. Maybe we don't want to sell this.
You know
house.
what? When we get done, you may decide you don't want to.
Maybe.
Yeah, it very well could happen. When we look strictly from averages to start the conversation, the average selling price for a home like yours is 236.2.
Mhm.
The average asking price of your competition is 249.9 or 249.4. And the homes that tried to sell and couldn't were 268.1.
Mm.
So what we have to determine is, what's the price point where we're going to be able to get the proper group of buyers in? Okay,
Mhm.
and here's the way this works. One of the things I want you to notice is buyers operate in price brackets. Because they're payment driven, they operate in price brackets. And the brackets operate in $25,000 increments between 200 and 300,000. So people will look 225 to 250. They'll look 250 to 275. They'll look 275 to 300. Okay. Once a buyer, what we know is once a buyer gets in the bracket, they do not differentiate among the houses based on price. They differentiate based on features. So that's where your add-ons start to shine. That's where your windows, the things that you've done, the wood floors that you have, that you found underneath the carpet that we talked about the other day. That's when all of those things start to shine. Given that, we get the right buyers through.
Mhm.
See, if we try to put too much value on that on the front end at the first level, we get the wrong buyer. And we start getting that buyer that can find more square footage. Now, again, having said that, I ran this up to $300,000. So if we go back over here to what our competition is. 242.5 for the house on Smith Road. You beat that house. Your house goes on the market today at 249.9, which is that bracket.
Mhm.
You're in and out, and they're still sitting there going, what happened?
Mhm.
The question we have to be able to answer is, can we push to the next bracket?
Mm.
Can we cross 250?
Well, if you assess our house with everything that we've done and all the things that are encompassed in our house, can you give us a better price range, or a range that it would sell for?
I'll be honest with you, because all of the comps were not all brick. There just hasn't been a brick sale,
Mm.
and location is the big driver of this thing.
Yeah.
So when we look in your part of town, not a house out here has been an all brick house. I could see the way clear to going at 274.9.
Okay.
I really could. Because in our marketplace, brick does bring quite a bit to the table. None of these comps that I could find were all brick homes.
Wow.
So I'm going to tell you today, your pricing is not off base.
Oh, yay.
Well, does it make a difference if the buyer comes in knowing about all these different features that we have upgraded? I mean, on top of that, we're a corner lot.
Mhm.
We used to have wood for fascia soffit. It's now permanent siding. We've replaced all the windows with Anderson type windows. Like we talked before, we pulled up carpet and discovered we had hardwoods underneath. So we pulled all that up and had that refinished. What else? We've
just landscaped the outside too. Everything is done outside.
Right.
New trees, new everything, flower beds, mulch.
So how much does it make a difference for a prospective buyer to know about all those things?
It definitely makes a difference. The biggest determiner though is the fact that you're all brick.
Really?
The fact that you're all brick.
Hmm.
The rest of the things kick in at the second level, right?
Mhm.
Corner lot, we don't, and here's kind of how this works. If it's not a qualifier that people use when they first start looking, you can't really tie a dollar for dollar value on it. So here's what I mean. We do have people that say, I want to buy an all brick house.
Hmm.
My world is going to be all brick houses. Well, you're going to be the only one. We don't have a lot of people say, I only want to buy a house on a corner lot.
Yeah.
I only want to buy a house with brand new windows. I only want to look at houses that have, an aluminum or soffit fascia. We don't really have people looking, saying, I only want to look at houses that have hardwood floors. Of all of those, that would be one possibly. But people do say, I want to buy a brick house.
Low maintenance.
And right now, you're going to be the only game in town.
Okay.
If you weren't all brick, I would be suggesting a price point of $249,900.
Okay.
You have a little window here.
The one below.
Yeah, because of those features, you would win in this arena.
Mhm. Okay.
The brick allows you to go to the next level. It does.
What about the sun porch? Does that help?
The sun porch helps after we get them in.
Okay.
So if you looked at me and said, Wayne, with all of these extras, we want to go over 300. Now we're out. Now you're not going to get the traffic. And that kind of leads me into, let me give you some deeper
How about
explanation.
275 to 3? How about that category?
That's a whole new group of buyers. And once buyers get in that category, they're going to look toward the upper end of that price range. Now you're going to start competing against 280s, 290s. What are they going to find? They're going to find more footage. At that price point, you are going to find brick houses.
Yeah, right.
You're going to find 3-car garages pop up every now and again. And all of a sudden, we're like Glen or like Maine. We're on the market, but we're not in it. If we go in there at the 274.9 number, just staying under the 275, now we're in the market.
Well, we did the math on that and tried to figure out what we'd have to leave. So I'd get excited about that, what you just said.
And understand, please, that the marketplace is incredibly fluid. This is the marketplace today. Tomorrow, if there are, 5 all brick houses that come on the market at 249, now we got an issue. But right now, there's a window of opportunity, if you will, to get in and move on. So, and let me just kind of explain a little bit about the marketplace. So, and you've been through this experience, but for every house on the market, regardless of time frame, about 40% of the properties that sell in less than a month.
I think we'll be in that range.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, 29% in the second month, 15% sell after they've been on the market 3 months, and then it falls off. You have the most control. We have the most control of this in the very beginning of the process. The longer we're on the market, the more control starts to shift to the other side of the
Well,
equation.
what can we do to get it in this range where it sells within 1 month? What,
274.9.
okay.
It's a pricing deal. Just making
It's
sure we
just
get
the cost and then getting them in the doors.
making sure we get them in the door, and then making sure that they see advantages to the things that you've done, because that's when they'll learn about the windows.
I have a notebook with everything in it that I've done in the house since we've lived there, and that has all receipts and everything that we've done for improvements that anybody could look at. Can I leave that on the counter for you?
You can. What we'll probably want to do is I definitely want to take a look at it. What we'll
Okay.
probably want to do is take the receipts out of it and just give them, I don't know if you have before and after pictures. I have no idea, whatever you have, but yes, that would definitely help. So they know the things that you've already done.
Okay.
Again, because we got payment driven people, right?
Mhm.
Not a lot of cash reserves to do something if something goes wrong. So we want to build their confidence up by saying, we've already done these things for you. And here's the date that we did them and things like that. So yes, that can be very helpful,
Okay,
100%.
all right.
One thing that about the house that may be in question, we've got an old HVAC system.
Okay.
Water heater, probably,
No, we got a new water heater since we've been there.
okay, well, the HVAC system, who knows? I mean, it could be gone tomorrow, it could go another 5 years. Is it important for us to try to upgrade that?
We should probably have it pre-inspected. I've got guys that I can call and send out, and let's see if there's an issue with it. Because I'd rather us deal with it on the front end than have a property inspector come back. I mean, crack heat exchanger, massive amount of rust, it's almost ready to go through. You're better off fixing those things now. Because if you go, for instance, I mean, the price of a furnace can be all over the map.
Right.
And if we put one in now, we can put in a builder grade furnace. If we get in the inspection phase, now we have the buyer involved. Now we could have the buyer starting to dictate what type of furnace you try to put in, and that's where these things can blow up because of inspections. So anything, Phil, that you know like that, we need to address that prior to putting your house on the market.
So
Because
that could-
then we can market it as brand new furnace if needed.
So that could be the same for the roof. We don't know how old our roof is. We think it was about 2007, based on what the neighbors tell us. We don't have any paperwork.
Yeah,
Right.
they didn't know.
Be the same thing for the roof. I can send a guy out and take a look at the roof and give us an opinion on it.
Okay.
Yeah, or anything that we know going in that could affect someone's decision, we want to address it up front. The classic example of this, it would be carpets. I mean, if we know, and you don't have this issue, but we know that, we used to offer carpet allowances. We were always better off to just go ahead and replace the carpets.
Mm,
Because we can put a builder grade carpet in, it looks fabulous, the buyer walks in and goes, oh my gosh, brand new carpets. But if we give them an allowance and then they go to the carpet store, now they start looking at $30 a yard carpet, they think we've cheap shotted them by giving them this lower allowance. So we're better off just doing the work,
okay.
okay?
Well, I'm not putting carpet in.
All right, well, no, we're not gonna do that.
When we sold our last house, we did get a home warranty as the sellers.
Mhm.
I really don't know if that made a big difference or not.
So in today's market, and the home warranty people don't like me saying this, but your house will not bring more money because you offer a home warranty. The buyer is gonna have to sign off on a home warranty as well. If they want you to buy a warranty for them, they will ask you to do that. Okay, if we're not gonna get more showings by offering a home warranty up front, we can buy one for them if they ask for it. In fact, I'll put that back to you. When you bought this, did they offer it with the home or you bought it?
We bought it.
You bought it. They didn't offer it. You decided you needed the peace of mind.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Right. So,
and it paid off for us.
exactly.
The movers dropped my refrigerator, so.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. As far as how important price is, not to just beat a dead horse here, but if we incorrectly price it, your property, the only buyer that we will ever get to come through, if we shoot too high, if we cross that 275 barrier as an example, this would be the people who have driven by your house for years and said, if that house ever comes on the market, I want to try to buy it. There are properties like that. But I think we would agree, I don't think you've had people knocking on your door saying, right, or would you please sell your house? If we get 10% above the market, then what we're doing is we're looking at the people who've said, I want to live on that street.
Mm.
If we get at the market, we're going to get about 60% of the buyers. And those are the people that say, I want to live in this geographic area, I want these features, and that's the buyers we need. We don't need all the buyers.
Okay,
We just need those people that,
just need one.
well, yeah, you just need one, but we're better off if we have 5,
Right.
because that's how you get a bidding war.
Right,
Okay.
okay.
As far as sales price, the timing, in every case, in every market, you will see the showings peak at about 10 days to 2 weeks. After you're on the market for 10 days to 2 weeks, the showings will start to fall off. In this market that we're in right now, that time frame is even scrunched up more. And I'll get into the 2 or 3 levels of home sales here in a bit.
I want to go back just a second.
Yep.
You said something about a bidding war a second ago. At the price we're hoping, 275, do you think that will, what's the chance do you think that would bring a bidding war?
Here's what we don't know. We don't know how many buyers are out there right now that have said, I really want to buy an all brick house. And if there's five, and historically, that's been a strong driver of this market. So it's just gonna depend on how many of those people there are, Phil. And as I sit here today, I don't know what to tell you.
Okay.
I can tell you that if, you know, if you wanna make sure, let's go 249.9, your all brick will just crush everybody that's out there right now.
Are you fairly certain we'll get people looking at the house with that what did you say, 274?
274.9.
Will we get lookers at that point? Or are we, I mean, because I don't want to go into week 4 and in this down.
We won't go there. I'll show you why in a second.
Okay,
Okay, I'll show you why we won't go there. Again, I've already talked about this, buyers absolutely buy in price bracket,
okay,
okay? Properties that are priced in the right bracket sell within the bracket. It's borne out by the statistics. Properties don't break out of brackets. The average down payment in the United States is 6%. So we're incredibly payment driven. So positioning is the key to this.
okay.
Here's why we're not gonna get there, Jody, to what you just said. Anytime we list a house, every house that sells goes through 3 levels. All right, number 1 is agent excitement. We get an agent excited about your property quite simply by where it is and how much we're asking. 274.9 should do that. If we go above that number, what's gonna happen is we're gonna have agents go, well, there's no way. No, I'm not even gonna call my buyers,
Oh, yeah.
right? I don't care that it's, you know, not bricks, not this, not that. When the agents are excited, they turn around and call their buyers, and we should see 8 to 10 showings. Now, normally in a normal market, and we are not in a normal real estate market.
Mhm.
Normally, I would tell you 8 to 10 showings in the first 2 weeks. I would tell you right now, if we don't get 8 to 10 showings in the first couple of 3 days, we've messed this up.
Okay,
We've messed this up. The market has that kind of steam right now. And the point we have to get to is when we check back on the showings, we're always one of the top 2 or 3. Because what one buyer likes, they all like. What one buyer dislikes, they all dislike because they're all looking at the same homes. So here's kind of what we try to do. If we put your house on the market and the agents aren't excited, they don't bring the buyers and we have a problem. If we put your house on the market and we get lookers, as you said earlier, but nobody comes back a second time and nobody tries to buy it, even though we've had traffic, we still have a problem. The point we've got to get to is right here. This is why communication is such a huge issue.
Mhm.
And you said you want to know what's going on. I will promise you, we will communicate a lot. And I'm going to show you exactly how we do it. From a marketing perspective, anytime I list a house, there's 4 things that we try to make sure we do. Number 1 is get as many qualified buyers into your home as possible. I will tell you up front, there's going to be some people come through your house that when we check back, they're not qualified. Now they have a desire to do this. They might even have the financial ability to do this, but they haven't put themselves in a position where they need to. Okay, the only people that pull the trigger are the ones that have to do it. You'll have people coming through your house, they haven't even put their house on the market yet.
Mhm.
You'll have people come through your house that their lease isn't up for 6 or 8 months.
So if you list our house, can you specify that prospective buyers have to be qualified?
I can make this promise to you, Phil. I can promise you that I will never show your house to someone that's not qualified.
But you can't promise that other real estate agents.
I cannot make the promise that, I mean, we could draw the line in the sand and say, send us a pre-approval letter prior to showing. That's gonna limit our showings.
Okay,
Probably gonna limit our showings, and that gets into a long dissertation of requiring real estate agents to have conversations with their buyers they're not comfortable with.
well,
We want traffic. We need
Yeah.
traffic, okay? Second, to assist you in getting the highest dollar value with the least amount of problems. If I'm doing my job right, your life is completely interrupted for a very short amount of time. And then we get a really solid contract that we know is gonna close. And that's where we have our leverage, is once we get to the contract phase,
Mhm.
okay? Third, to communicate the results of our activities to you. You've mentioned it multiple times. It's important. I'll show you exactly how we communicate. And fourthly, to look for the best ways of exposing your property. That's the marketing that I do. All right? So number 1, you will be on all of the real estate portals. Now, that happens quite simply just by listing your house, not with me, just with anybody. All of these portals grab that information from our MOS system and they automatically populate. This is where a lot of buyers start their search. In fact, nationally, 95% of buyers start their search online before they actually physically go look at property. So you'll have as vibrant of placing on these as we can get through our multiple system. Okay. Then I do some targeted social media advertising. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a little announcement about your house that is coming up, right? And then once we do the videos on your house and the photos, I'll make sure those go on Facebook. That has become recently a big, I shouldn't say a big part, it has become a piece of the puzzle. So we're hoping that people that are my Facebook friends may know people who know people who know people who are looking for a house in Glendale Schools that's all brick at that price point.
What's gonna keep people from just coming over? I mean, can they by appointment only? I mean, or something? Am I gonna have to field that?
So here's the way the rules work in our multi-list system. It's a system that's referred to as call lockbox.
Okay,
They're going to call.
do they call you or us?
Historically, they used to call you. Now they're gonna call us.
Okay,
And then I'm gonna call you and make sure that it's okay, and then you're gonna know when people come in.
so I can leave. I have time to get out.
I'll give you as much notice as we can. It is possible that someone may be driving through your neighborhood and they may call and say, I want to see the house.
Okay,
I made a promise to you earlier, I would not show it to somebody that's not qualified. As I take that buyer through the conversation, I may determine they're not qualified, and I won't show it to them. They may get mad at me, but I won't show it to them, because I don't want you to interrupt your life, have to leave, have to clean, have to do all those things you
oh, I'll
have to
just
do
keep it ready. We've done this
for someone
before.
that we know is not gonna have a really great chance of buying the house. We will do professional photography and videography. I will send a professional out, take professional pictures, as well as do a professional video of your property. We'll also bring a professional stager in, if this is okay with you, to perhaps move a bit of the furniture around, maybe eliminate some of the things, if that's okay.
Well, I had already planned to eliminate some of the
Okay.
stuff that I have in there
So
because.
I've got somebody that I work with, and we'll have them come in and just kind of guide us where things might sit. Again, we're taking a product to the market.
Mhm.
I understand that it's not how you would live in it. Same room,
Wow,
yeah,
So do we pay for that
no, I'll pay for that.
photography?
but because this was too dark.
It's too dark and the furniture was arranged in a way that didn't accent the room.
Oh, okay.
Also target market your neighborhood. We know that one of the main ways, believe it or not, that people find the house that they want to live in is if they know someone that lives in the neighborhood, they're like, hey, if something comes up, let me know. I really like where you live. So we want to try to get the neighborhood working for you. It's called a just listed postcard. I'm going to send out just listed cards to everybody in the neighborhood. They're all wondering about what you're asking for the house anyway. We might as well just tell them
Okay,
and see if perhaps they know someone who knows someone who knows someone or whatever. Direct line sign calls. So the phone number that is on your sign is a direct line to me.
oh, okay,
So if someone is driving the neighborhood that they want to live, like, so it's kind of the progression of a buyer. They look at it online. They see what the address is, they get in their car and they drive by. If they call me from the sign, it will be a direct line. They will not go to a switchboard. It goes to a direct line that I will answer. It's actually a separate cell phone number that I use so that I know that it's on one of my listings.
oh,
And I will contact them. So if you do your own little test, and if you call one of my competitors, right? And you say, I want to know about a house. All I remember is the street name. I don't remember who the agent is. They will transfer you to what's called floor duty. And it will be an agent sitting there waiting to answer your questions. But they're gonna have to look it up because they haven't been in the house. So as a way to make sure, and it's very frustrating for buyers if you've ever been through that process before. So if somebody calls on your house, they're gonna get me. Well, I don't need to look anything up. I
Mhm,
know all about your house.
mhm.
Then as far as communication goes, I will give you a phone call every week. Okay? Even if we haven't had a showing, and I do not anticipate this happening, but I can guarantee you'll talk to me once a week. Okay?
Not for very long, I'll bet.
Talk as long as you need to.
No, but I mean, not for very many weeks.
Well, no, I'm hoping that I don't have to call you about what's going for progress at all, right? It will also give you a 48-hour feedback guarantee, as I mentioned earlier. Every time your house is shown, I guarantee you I'll call you back within 48 hours. And I'll tell you exactly what those people thought about the house.
Okay, good.
Okay, here's the questions that we asked. What did they like? What did they think about the home's layout? Specifically, what did they like or dislike about it? What was their price range? Sometimes we find out, well, they were looking up to 300, but they thought maybe, like, well, they're not really a buyer for our house anyway. Of the ones they looked at, are we one of the top 3? And if we're not, why aren't we?
Okay,
If we are one of the top 3, my follow-up question is going to be, what do I have to do to be number 1? And if the agent tells me something, I will relay that to you. We would be number 1 if, and then we can have a conversation on whether we want to go back to them and say, you know what, if that's the deal, put something on paper. Or we may have a conversation and you go, I'm not willing to do that. And I won't. I guess what I'm trying to say is I would never play your hand out to another agent or a buyer. You hire me, you get me.
okay.
I'm going to represent you. Did they buy another house? And if they did, where? And if they did, why? And as an agent, what do you believe? What do you think about where we are? I do not edit their responses. So please don't shoot the messenger if somebody comes back with a negative comment.
Oh, I'm sure
It-
there'll be some. Yeah.
Well, I don't know that there will be, Jody,
There's a
but
few things I'd change about the house if I could, but
it's important that you know everything that a
Right.
buyer is saying about your house.
that's right.
It's important that you know everything that the marketplace is giving us. Then I'm going to update you every 2 weeks with a bi-weekly report. All right, this is going to show you the properties that are currently on the market that we're competing against. It's also going to show you the ones that went under contract and what their asking price was. Now, we're not going to know what they sold for. We'll just know at what price points things were selling. If you get a report that says there were no sales, don't worry, we didn't miss anybody.
Hmm.
But if you get a report that says there were 2 or 3 sales, we need to talk. And we need to keep open lines of communication and say, okay, it looks like the market's here. Do you guys want to go there? And you can say, no, we don't want to go there.
And then we can take it off the market if we choose to.
You have the right to cancel listing anytime you want
Okay,
with no notice. It's like listing your house
Oh.
one, it's like listing your house one, yeah, it's right in here. It's like ragu, it's in here.
I didn't even know that page came up. Okay.
You can fire me anytime you want to.
Oh, well, that's not what I meant.
Well, no, but seriously, look, if it's like listing your house a day at a time, so there's no risk for you. If the marketplace moves to a place that you don't want to play, I get it. It's like, well, if it's only going to bring this, we're going to stay here for a while. That's great. Let's stop. Because there's no reason for you to continue. There's no reason for us to continue the process when we have the information and the data to know we're not going to be able to operate where we thought we were. Let's just stop.
Okay,
Because it's unfair to you to keep leaving and I watch this happen with people. Sellers are going through everything that they've been asked to do, and they don't have a chance to sell their house. And I think that's a travesty personally. I think it's unfair to you guys. I want a free flow of information. I'm going to tell you everything I know so that we can make an educated decision.
mhm.
Any questions?
Pretty comprehensive. I don't think so. I mean, I'm real thrilled that the asking price that we've kind of come to terms with, I think.
So you ready to go? You ready to list?
Do you need, oh, well, you're gonna send somebody to help me figure out what I need to remove and what I need to,
We do that after the listing is in.
okay.
Yeah, we have a little bit of a window there to get those things done.
If we decide to list, how quickly can we get it on market?
Depending on how much staging we need to do, we could have it on the market by, what's today, Wednesday? We could have it on the market by this weekend. If that's what you want to do, really, it's when do you want to get it on the market? We can adjust accordingly on the other end of this
Well,
thing.
if you stage this, are we allowed to live on that furniture then?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah, it'll be your furniture for the most part. Might be a
Yeah.
couple things they bring in, it'll be your furniture.
my furniture's pretty awesome, I think.
Oh, there you go. So, all right, that's how it ends. And then it's either yes or no. Okay, so,
I'd list with him, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I guess.
okay, yay, I won. Okay, any questions, Madeline, from the chat room or anything like that?
So we've got one question in here. Does Wayne leave the sellers the listing presentation that you just went through with them? Do you leave that with them?
If we're talking about this piece, the answer is no. Remember, all of this information is in the pre-listing packet that they already have. All of these pages are in your pre-listing packet as a general rule. So no, this is something that I take with me and would take back out. It would be no problem to leave it with them, however. That's something that at that point, we get into what your own personal preference is as an agent, whether you want to leave things with them, whether you don't. I see someone's typed something in. I can't read.
Yes, and to answer the question, yes, you will get a copy of the pre-listing packet. If this is your first time joining, those materials have been sent out prior, but we'll make sure that you get a copy as well.
Absolutely. Any other questions from anyone?
We have another one in here. Had you already seen their house today? I believe the answer is yes.
Yeah, again, two-step listing process. So I would have gone out and seen their house a minimum of 24 hours before this meeting. Sometime yesterday, I would have gone and seen their house. I would have taken a lot of notes based on the pre-listing questionnaire. I would have asked them a lot of questions. Again, the key question I would have asked to you at that time would have been, the key question I would have asked would have been, do you have a price in mind? And you would have either said, we're thinking 275, or you would have said, we have a price in mind, but we don't want to tell you, or you would have said, I have no idea.
Mm.
Right? This is the only three possible answers for the question. But yes, this is based on the fact that I've already seen their house and I've given myself time to figure out how I'm going to present what I've come up with. Try to build in a 24-hour window between the first visit and the actual presentation, so that you can get the dialogue down.
Perfect. We've got a question in here. Does the Springfield market really command a $30,000 difference for all brick?
In this market right now, yeah, it really would.
And then why would you list at 274.9 instead of 275, which goes into our
So,
bracket?
okay, so this is a weird answer. We're a 9.9 market in Springfield. And that's more just my old tradition coming out. Pretty much everything in our market is listed on the 9s. There are other markets that are not. The theory of going 275 is then I'll get the buyers up to 300 as well, right? I just never bought into that. I don't want the buyers that are looking up to 300 because we're not going to be able to compete at 300. And so I guess that's a justification for the 9. Different markets are different. Some markets price on the 5s and the 0s. We've always been a 9 market. So that's just my old mindset coming back. I can't make a case one way or the other on
Okay.
275 or 274.
We have a question in here. They said, maybe I missed it, but do they need to purchase? I believe they said yes. Would you have that conversation at a different time? Would you separate this?
So in the interest of time, I didn't go down that route, but yes, what we would have done at the end of this was I would have pulled the paperwork out that I already had with me. And I would have started the process of filling this out. I mean, I'm here, we're going to fill out the paperwork, right? I'm at least going to ask you to.
Mhm.
And I would have also always had a buyer agency agreement with me as well. And I would have said, based on this conversation, you said the third thing was that I help you find another house. So we need to go ahead and sew that up as well. This is a buyer agency agreement. This says you're going to hire me to represent you in the purchase of a house as well. And I would have walked through that. And yes, I would have completed all the signatures on everything in this meeting. That then turns it into an hour and a half, 2-hour meeting. very productive 2-hour meeting, but a 2-hour meeting nonetheless. So yes, I would have done both. I did not know that was coming, so that's why I didn't have that paperwork ready. That another question, Maddie?
Yes, it looks like, is this sale contingent upon the future sale? Someone would like to know.
Not in this scenario, no. This sale was not contingent upon them being able to buy suitable replacement housing. However, in this marketplace that we are in, if they had hammered the point home to me of, you know, we'd love to sell this, but where are we gonna go? Where are we gonna go, Wayne? Where are we gonna go? That would have led me into a full-blown buyer presentation. And we would have talked about, and for those of you that haven't been through a lot of Wednesdays with Wayne, that's where we talk about the Blue Ocean letter and the things that we would do to try to find them the house that they wanted. And that would turn into an entire buyer presentation, which we are going to go through farther on as we work our way through the curriculum of this. Anything else?
I believe that is our final question. We've got a few thank yous coming through here. I'll go ahead and share my screen and show some of the resources if you all need to get in contact with us.
Right. And then, yeah, if you want to get in contact with us, send an email if you have any questions to admin@stfconsult.com. Go to waynefrederick.com, and up in the upper right-hand corner, you will see, it'll say free guides. If you're a first-time attendee, a lot of the things that I referenced today, specifically these listing questions, they're on there in a free guide. You can download them yourself. If you have any questions, admin@stfconsult.com. The phone number on there is actually my cell phone. So if anybody wants to text me or call me, feel free. And then Maddie, if you'll advance one more slide. On the 23rd, we're going to start the first of a 3-part series on the missing link of proactivity, which actually dovetails right in with what we talked about just a few minutes ago about if they had hired me as a buyer, what's my strategy going to be for them to help them find the house? That gets into the Blue Ocean letter, that gets into some active prospecting. So we're going to do 3 sessions on that. The first 2 talking about the various ways of becoming proactive, which is incredibly important in today's market. And then the 3rd session won't be a role play, but it will be me actively making for sale by owner and expired phone calls. So you want to be sure and attend that one if you want to watch the train wreck, because I'm going to get on the phone and actually make expired calls. So with that, thank you so much for your attendance. Appreciate all of you, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Have a great day.